Thank you, Eddie, for this great introduction. Hi to everybody. Welcome to, I will say, in 2016, one of the first post-processor webinar, and it comes with a series. And as Eddie already mentioned, even if you have very good post, for a certain machine, some of the customers have even basically 3 same machines, but all of those 3 machines can come with different equipment, different options, different functions. And there's a need, for it's totally impossible to create a post-processor that's, that covers all the functions, automatically. So there is a need, for changing the post-processor. So we did it very great. We have very flexible system to do it. So. And one of the really it showed in the past that most of our resellers have some things and post-processor requests changed, and it will be my pleasure to share with you the knowledge and the experience that we got from our support chair as a frequently asked post-processor change that we got it from you. Now, I truly understand that this webinar has attenders, that that already know something about post-processors, and some of you, of course, are advanced users and experts. But there are also some of you know the post-processor basic. So it's pretty hard to start one webinar, that will cover and satisfy both sides, So therefore, we decide to create a series of 3 webinars, that will satisfy both sides and have like the tips and tricks, that will cover all needs. Now, for early beginning, I will not start from how to write the post-processor from the beginning, okay? So this is not our goal, but today I will show you how to do the basic things, inside the post-processor, inside also the SolidCAM. Now, today the webinar will include, how to format some of your variables, how to insert coolant option, where even if it seems pretty easy, believe me, it can go very. We will go really deep into this problem. How to install tool breakage control, how to insert miscellaneous options, user-defined parameters, and really frequently asked question: how to work with file structure, how to use the open, close, and copy file. Okay, and as already mentioned. This webinar includes and will include some of the terminology, material, and some of the procedures that I will do here. It's already, covered in one of the presentation and post-processor tutorial that we already recorded, and therefore, for those who first see this webinar and for those who first see these post-processors and they don't know anything about it, we have the recorded video and the presentation that follows that to be sure. And I know that this webinar is recording, so you can watch it, but just after you first watch these 5 videos. Okay. Now, I will start basically from the post-processor edit tool. Now, when I start, the editing of the post, I used just simple. It's enough to have just simple text editor, right? And as I have, pretty often post-processor change, and I started doing it daily. I figured out that some of the things that I'm doing it like a routine. And it starts to really, I already know what I need to do in the test steps in the further, but it's still, I'm very slow. And one of the things that I really think of, okay, I need a different kind of software that will cover my needs, to increase the functions and the tools that the regular software from the system cannot give me. So today I'll talk a little bit more of the tool that I'm using. It's Notepad Plus Plus. The really good thing about it is that it's 100% free, and it covers 100% all what you need regarding to the post-processor edit. Now, I will not talk pretty much of it, but I'll just like to show you a few of the things, okay? So what I have here is just post-processor, okay, that I open it. It's just with 3 axes, FANUC style. And this is pretty much the environment of this software. Now, in all those series, I will use the same software. So for you can choose whatever you'd like, but this one, it's what I'm using it. And the key feature that it has, it's like, I will say most important, is the function list, where you can really easily jump into any system or user-defined procedure, just double-clicking on that. That's pretty handy, and it helps you very, very fast to change, the position of where you would like to be inside the document or inside the post, okay? Now, the key features that I'm using it has pretty much really advanced tricks of tips and how to edit the multi-line, how to, for example, if let me check one of the good examples. For example, here I have here user-defined procedure that it's like message of the tool. I don't know what this procedure actually do, but you can use a clone option in order to double of the same document, and I can jump into this procedure just holding the control key, and I'll jump into the procedure itself, and I can see, okay, this is what this procedure it's doing here. I can change here something, and I can go back to my previous position, and I can save my project. Now, it's pretty handy, and I will not show you right now all the tips and tricks what I'm using for inside this tool, but I'll try in parallel while I'm changing the post to show you all the things. Okay, and probably already saw that all system variables and user-defined variables are colorized, right? So the colorization of the procedures, if statements, white statements, it's already done. And if you would like to have the same colors like I have it, you have right here, the link, 2 links. One of the will go to the download, the Notepad link, and the second one, it's how to download and install the same colorization of GPP tool, let's say structure. Okay, and let's just start now. So as I already mentioned, the first thing what I'll cover on today's webinar will be how to format your variable. Now, all those things are already covered in this in the videos that I mentioned in the second slide. So, but I will just today show you one of the most things that I'm using it, and to explain it how to use it. Okay. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just simply jump into the post, and for this example, I'll say that this post is pretty good to do it, but I already prepared some of this that I'm, I started in this way. I delete everything, inside the post, and here what I have, it's simply empty post that it will help me, to show you how to do it in the right way, how to learn all those things. Now, all of those things that I will explain you, of course, it's pretty advanced and pretty technical, so I hope that you enjoy it. Now, for the first, what I will talk is about putting the scaling factor, okay, and for all examples, I will try to find at least one example that you will really use it in really on the post for the machines. So for now, what I will do now inside of my very first analyzation post, that it's not traced, of course, I'll create one, global variable that it's numeric one, right? And the name of this variable will be like n. My first letter, it's declaring, what kind of variable is it. So the n is like numeric, it's integer, B it's like logical or Boolean, and what else? I totally forgot. It's true, false. It's Boolean, and yeah, it's stuck. But definitely I'll pass through that. Okay, so I'll generate like numeric one that I will just say the value. Okay, and I'll put some of the value, inside of it. So my value of this will be something that I can pretty show you, what it's. Let's say I'll put like 16025. Okay, and this is pretty advanced, but I know that my procedure for starting of the operation is start of job. Okay, so most of you already know about this procedure. It's a system one. So it will help me, to print this value. So if I put here like a new block, so everything what is inside these brackets, it will be printed. So this is like new block, and then we need to do something. So what I will do here, I will just print some comment, let's say so, and I'll put my my value, okay? And after that, I want to print that value as well. Okay, pretty good. So let's see now. I'll just jump into the project, and what I have here is some of the operations that I just did just to test the post, okay? And what I will do here, I'll just simply generate. Sorry, I'll cancel it. Because one of the things is that now my post processor, it's 3-axis one, but I want to change it to my empty post.gpp. Okay, let's generate now the Gcode. Okay, one of the things that it's coming like from SolidCAM system is if you make any mistake, of inside the post, you'll get error message. And this error message will give you a line where you make a mistake. So one of the pretty handy thing is of Notepad Plus that you will always have a block number where it is generated. Now let's do it to cancel, and let's jump into it. Okay, so I did something wrong. Okay, and we need to figure it out. What? End of 22. Let's see it. Global. This is pretty fine. End of procedure. Okay, close it. It's numeric one. Am I in the right one? I think so. The 21st one. I cannot see. And P. Crazy. Yeah. Okay. So, sorry, my mistake. So I found it. So the start of job, it should start, with this monkey letter, and it should not contain, inside the NP. So sorry, my mistake. I guess it's coming, because of the webinar. It's always like that. Okay, so when I generate the G-code, what I have here is, of course, my value that it's 1605, right? And let me check how does it comes. I'll go jump into the presentation, and what I will first show you is like how to use the scaling factor, okay? And there's a multiplying factor and dividing factor. I'll just really quickly show you. One of the pretty handy thing is that you can put into the brackets like multiply or dividing thing, and either of those you cannot use the plus and minus sign it here. It's just allowed to use the multiply and dividing thing. Okay, so one of the handy thing is you can multiply this value with number of 2. So whenever I do that and generate a specific G-code, now I'll got 32.205, sorry. So this is very commonly used in the all mill-turn post or just turning post when you have to double your X value, for example. Therefore, I delete here, my numeric def. It's like system format, and here you can add some prefixes and suffixes. One of the really commonly used, things for all the variables. And here I can put the letter of the X, and the letter X will be printed just before this value. Of course, I'll not do that right now. I'll just jump into the dividing thing. I will generate the G-code. I'll click OK, and now I have 8.012. Very cool. Okay, so let's check it out. Somebody it says that delete if 0. Let's jump into that and let's show what this format option actually do. It will delete the value and it will not print even 0. So if it's 0, it will not be printed. So now this value will be printed no matter because it's not 0. So if I try to generate a G-code, it will be 16.025. But if I try to delete this value and change it to 0, you will not see any value. So let's jump into that. This is pretty basic, but I just wanted to show you how, what is the result. So my value is actually not printed at all. So this is how to use this. They're pretty handy, for some of the needs. Now, no decimal point. Pretty self-explanational. It's like he will not print any decimal point. So even if I put 16.05, 0.25, the decimal point will not be there, okay? Now about conditional decimal point, this is pretty handy. I would like to show you what it really does. If I do the P, and here I put 16.025, the value will not be changed at all. So if I go and I would like to print this variable, right? It's printing as it is. But what if I put it like this, or just 16? It's totally fine. So I have here 0. Let's see what will be the result. Just even 16 without decimal point. Okay, very good. And one of the really good things, it's right, the invert sign. Not so much use it, but it's pretty handy when you need it. You don't have to multiply your variable with -1, but you just can put it just it like invert your variable, right? It's the same like multiplying with -1. So you can choose it. So let's generate the G-code. And it's minus now 16. Pretty good. Okay, now one of the really common questions that I have from resellers, there is some controllers that actually requires, it's for the pretty old controller, it's required to print out, not the decimal point, but actually comma. So I have few of the requests about that. So let's see how to do it. So it's pretty easy. So instead of 16.0, I would like to print, like 16,0. Okay, so one of the requests that we have. So how to do it? I'll delete this, and it's simple as that, but it's pretty tricky. I would like to know it. So just instead of the point, just put here, the comma value. And let's print out this. Generate, okay, and now he don't print, the point, the decimal point, but actually it's now the comma. Okay. Pretty good. Now, the next subject that I would like to talk about is, insert coolant option. Now, the coolant option, it's equipment on the machine, and it can be different from machine to machine. So some of them can have just the flood through spindle, but some machine has just generally the coolant, or some of them has through tool. So you just before just when I reach the workshop and go to the front of the machine, I always ask to the operator, what kind of coolant option this machine has, because if you cannot program that, you will have to insert the manual coolant, or to manually do it, on and turn it on while the part is cutting, So all the time you will need to have operator in front of the machine. So you want to avoid that. You want to control that really. So let me show you how to do it. So what I will do, I'll jump into the project and I'll jump into any of the operation. Now, if you go to the tool and go to the coolant, you can clearly see that all the coolant options are not available. So even if the turret and the machine coolant. So this is two different coolants, that you have. Machine coolant is like something, generally that you have on the machine, and the turret coolant it's based, you can have the through tool with high and low pressure. You can have the mist, the same thing, with the flood with high, low pressure, or you can even put the value. Now you have also activate the air, very, very good, for eye machining. So you want to be sure that you can really handle these things through the post-processor, okay? And I'll show you how to do it now. The very first movement of that is you have to open your VMID, and here I have, like, some of you already know the VMID, but it's pretty, every VMID need to have at least two devices. That's the spindle and the table. The spindle where the tool is mounted, and the table where the part is located. Now, I will jump into the options, and as you can see, here we have the machine. What's the machine? And under that we have the options. So and inside of that we have a lot of things here. But what should I cover? It's like activating the air, coolant, mist, and the coolant flood. Okay, and the same thing you have for the spindle. If you go to the options, you have like coolant through tool, flood, mist, air, and so on. So I will show you just how to do it, on the one, and then the procedure to put all of those it's in the same way. Okay. So what I'll do here, I'll just choose on and off. When I would like to print, in most of the machines it's M8 to turn it on, and to turn it off it's M9, So I'll put it like that, and I'll just use 7 exit, and I can jump into the my operation, and now you can see if I go to the coolant option, now my flood it's actually active, and I can activate it. I can use that. Now you can see the machine coolant, there is nothing. Okay, so if I turn this on, you don't have to save and calculate, but I'm using, I'll do just save and calculate for now. And in this example, I will not use my GPP file that it's, for to show you the format option, but I will actually use the one that, it's for the 3-axis funnel. Besides that, this post, you can use it, it will be shared on the forum, so you can use it for all your projects, and also it can be very handy if you would like to learn something, from the post, or if you would like to play with that, it will be shared. Okay. Now, as you already know, if you want to get some of the information from operation or from the toolpath itself, and you want to use it inside the post-processor, this is some of the basic, but pretty much you already know that, but you need to search it inside the trace. The trace is our, let's say, internal system that allows the user, to read all the system variables and also user-defined variables, some of them regarding to, what values it's printed in which order and for what values. Okay. Okay, so I'll do it right now. I'll go to my FANUC. And what I always have in my post is I declare some of, I'll say, the trace level, it's the integer type, and then I'm putting some, like, I'm allowing user to put some trace level where I'll have, need to put the value of 0, 1, and 5. This is all covered, in the training course. And then I have, I will trace it. Okay. I'll generate the Gcode, and I'll trace it with my level 5. Now, this is coming from experience, but also, as you are opening this file, pretty messy thing, all the time, you'll pretty understand and know how and where to search some of your variables, and it will become, very easily. Now it's pretty messy, but I'll try to give it up to you. So I know that inside this mess, I have pretty important system procedure that it's start of job. Now for every start of job, there is an end of job, and everything between those two procedures, it's one operation. So inside the start of job, I have all the information that I need for the beginning of the operation, and then you can just imagine it's just like lines and arcs or drill procedures, and at the end there is end of job. Now, what it's really interesting for me is this. In this case, it's all system variable that comes, and it's regarding to the coolant option, as you can see. So just for now, I'll just copy it, and maybe I'll open a new document. I'll just double clicking on it, so as you see, it's pretty fast. And what I will do here, I'll just remove this, and right, as you can see, there are two different, I will say here, steps or different kind of coolants, and it's here. So all the variables that it's down below, it has the prefix of like machine, so it's machine coolant, or you have just float coolant, it's like on the spindle. So this is regarding to the turret, and this is all regarding to the machine. So depending of what you accepted inside the VMID, you'll be very able to use this, and it's what is very, very important about these variables that, for example, in this case, the coolant option variable can have a value of 0. That means it's no action. Okay. It means that it's not turned on inside the VMID. 1, it means it's on. And 2, it means that it's off. So we will use this information, of course. Now I'm telling to you like because I really know it, but the only way how to find out, it's to play with empty post and to work with it hardly, and this is the only way how you can find it out, and also you can use our GPP tool help. This is one of the, I would say, good moments to do that, because the GPP tool help, it's not for those who never saw the post-processor file, okay? So the GPP tool help, it's pretty handy, it's pretty helpful just for those who actually already seen and understand the syntax of the GPP tool, okay? So therefore, it's pretty useful, you know, in this moment for now. So okay, so I'll use, this is my system variable that I will use it. And if I go to my trace, the same variables I have here, it's, you see it, it's on. This is what you should pay attention. And if I jump to the end of this trace, I will find out the end of job. The end of job covers, you know, all the coolant options again, and it has the off option. So on the beginning of the operation, it's starting, and at the end, it's turning off. Okay, so let's use it. So what I will do, I'll use, you know, my function list to jump into the start of job. And just below my message, I would like to print it. So I can say something like this. I can say something like this. If my food coolant is equal to 1, which means, you know, you can put some comment here, which it's on, then I would like to print some text inside the new block. And what it will be, you can guess it's like M8, like I can put some comment, coolant on. It helps, you know, also to the maybe to the operator. It's the way how I'm doing it. And I'll put the end if. And you can imagine that I'll just use the copy of it, and inside the end of job, I will put like food coolant when it's equal to 2, which is off. I'll have M9. I'll save it, and maybe some of you don't see it, but I'm not using, you know, file and save, but I'm using, you know, Control S. It's just the way how I get used to it. It's much more faster, and if you want to be professional guy and to save your time, use the shortcuts. You know, this is my advice. Okay, so let's try it. I'll go to the spot drill. I'll generate a Gcode. I'll click OK, OK, and let's see. On the beginning of the operation, we have the coolant on, and just after end of the cycle, we have coolant off. Now, probably even the basic, with the basic knowledge, everybody will understand how to do that. But it can be, I can give you one of the reasons why this comes, you know, from the customers. Like, we don't like this way. Now, what will happen if I took, for example, second operation? Actually, it's the last one. And if I do, you know, the same thing, I will turn on the coolant. Now, this is coming from the resellers. It's like a very common request. And when you generate the Gcode right now, you'll see that we have the coolant on. Then, of course, because it's end of the operation, we have coolant off. And then again, on the beginning of the next, you know, we have the change tool and everything. And then we have again coolant on. But of course, in this case, it has sense because we are changing our tool. But if you have like this, in this case, both operations, if there are coolant, and I'll go to again same one where I already have the coolant. And here, if I generate the Gcode, here I have the coolant, and what I will just try to find is just the bracket. You know, it's really good thing. On the end of job, we have M9, and as you can see here, this is one of the things that operators really don't like it, to turn off the coolant and turn on it again just after a few blocks. So nobody likes that. And I will show you, how to change those things, and I will go really deeply on this. Okay, because we have coolant on and coolant off, I don't like to print the end of inside the end of job M9 because I don't like to turn off the coolant if the next operation has the coolant on, right? So what I will do here, I need to put some logic inside. So whenever you are doing something inside the post-processor, I'm following three things. Try to be much flexible, very short, very understandable for all resellers worldwide. So what I'll do now here, I'll try to show you how I will implement, the logic. So the logic should be inside the post in order to satisfy customer needs, right? Okay, so first of all, I need to understand and to know when my coolant is printed, and to save this information. So if the next operation it's the it has also the flood coolant activated, I don't want to turn it off and to turn it on again. So I don't want to print it. So how to do that? Let's save first the information here. I'll create one variable, that will store my information about the coolant. That will be, let's say, it can be the integer or it can be also the logical one with true and false. Okay, so and when we are about the variable, I forgot to mention the string variable, right? Now I remember it. Okay, so I'll put like integer and let's say printed coolant, right? So it means that it's like a flag. My coolant, it's printed, right? And I will say it's 0. It's 1. So it's printed. This means it's printed. Okay. Now one of the things that I'll use, it's like I'll clone this, and because I've used it in my post-processor, we need to declare it on the beginning of the post. So this is what I'm doing. I don't have to, go up, then I will lose myself. I need to go to the start of job. This is pretty handy, pretty quick. So I'll just put inside my integer, printed coolant, pretty good. Okay. Now, if my coolant is equal 1, it will print it. Else, so if it's not, and now here I need to put some logic. So if printed coolant is equal to 1, let's print our coolant off. Right? And then I need to, again to change my flag into a 0. So that means that my coolant it's not active. So I'll put here M9, right? And of course here I need to put and if. Now let's see, coolant if flood it's 1. Okay, it's pretty great. What we are missing here, it's something like here. If printed coolant it's equal, to 1, if it's equal just to 0, then print me this. Otherwise, I don't like to print it, This is pretty advanced, and I don't expect from everybody to understand it from beginning, Everything is actually starting from practice, okay? So I will just repeat once again. So if from system comes 1, and if my coolant is not printed, I would like to print it, and then here I am saying, okay, it's printed. Now, if my coolant is equal to 0, and I have printed, coolant, it will print out M9. That will lead me to the situation that I need to delete, onside the end of job. Let's see how that works. I'll jump into that. I'll generate the Gcode. Okay, I have here coolant on, and you can see that after my drill cycles, I don't have M9, right? So this is our achievement. We put our coolant option to the much higher level. That's pretty great. Now, at the end of this operation, you should see also, okay, you should see M9. Now the thing is, okay, why there is no M9? It's because we have the end of job and we've put our logic to print everything just on the beginning of the operation, right? So the solution to this can be inside of the end. Okay, I'll just click it here. Maybe it will be very handy if we put some, how to say, some value to this as a default on the beginning. And I'll jump into the end of program, which means like end of everything, you know. And here I will put some logic. If my coolant is printed, right, then I would like to, you know, and I'm pretty lazy, you know, and I guess everybody will become in one stage lazy. So you can just copy it and do an end if. Now let's see how does it work. Okay, it's not printed here, and on the end of the operation, here we have M9 coolant off. This is pretty great, and I've seen so much, you know, from the resellers. They're asking me, you know, how to do that. Now, also, I'll go a little bit deeper on this, you know, just on the coolant, and then after that, all the rest of the things, it's like putting the same thing, and it's going in the same way. Once you figure it out how to do it for all of the options that are inside the SolidCAM, you can do it on the totally same way. Now, one of the things that I wanted to bring the coolant option on the higher level is that whenever I have change tool, I want to turn off the coolant and to turn it on again, right? So how to do that? Whenever I have between the operations tool change, the system variable change tool, it's coming, right? Some of you already know. Some of you who are basic, you know, will understand it after the webinar of training session that it's on the second slide. So here, what you need to do, it's of course it's pretty similar and like in most of the posts, you know, for the FANUC style. This is, you know, how to say, this is how the procedure body is generated. Now, whenever I here, what I need to do with the coolant, whenever it's not my first tool, of course, when it's false, I would like to stop the coolant. So what I need to do, I need to copy this and put it here. Now, whenever I have the change tool, like I have it in this example, between those two operations, right, I have the different tool, so I'll have to change it. I need to print M9 there, change the tool, turn on the M8 again, and have the M9 on the end. Now, this is pretty advanced thing, but I'm not expecting that everybody will understand from the first shot. So try to do it as many times as possible, and until you get to the right point, you know. And one of the also very good things, none of the programmers will do this in the same way. You can do it in your way. There are actually unlimited ways of how you can do it. But what is really important is to leave a comments, to create it in as much flexible way so you can use it always, right? This is our goal. And here it is what we have. We have the end mill. Our coolant will be turned off, then it will be turned on again, and now you have done. Now the good thing regarding to this logic, it's just now the copy paste. So if you have different coolant option or different things, you know, you can just copy and paste it. You can just change the variables, variable names, and you can use it not just in this post, but in any post. And as I already mentioned to you, the coolant, it's something that it's very, you know, often changed inside the post, and you want to be able to change it very quickly. Now imagine how much time I will need if the coolant it's not M8, for example, it's M21 or something like that. Now this is something that I can say, let's make a flexible post. So I want to let's say, change all those letters, to come here automatically. And how to do that? Let's create some, string variable, or I'll put it right just below my global so everybody can see it. So I will put global string, and then my first, it's s, it's declaring what type of variable is it. And the s, it will be like float coolant on. And again, we have the same for the off. So it can be, pretty different. And what I will do here with that, on the beginning of the post, I will allow to all resellers, to change it. So if your coolant on, it's not M8, but it's something different, you can just here change it, and you don't have to change all through the post. Of course, this is 3-axis post, and it has just 300 lines. But imagine if you have the Milton post that can be, like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and 5,000 lines. That just for the changing the coolant option, you need, even if you are very expert, you will lose 1 hour. That's not something that we want. We want something that is pretty flexible, that you can change like in a second, right? So this is the way how you can do it. I will put some string, of course it's in quotation marks, and I'll put here what I would like to print there, like M8 coolant on, and the same thing. Now, one of the very handsome things and tricks here that I would like to show you is that you can copy and paste, very quickly, just clicking on the specific block and holding the Control and click D. That will duplicate your variable, and then it's pretty easy, just to change what you actually needed. To be very nice, and I'll put here off. Now for those variables, I'll just replace wherever I saw this. So here I have coolant on, here I have coolant off, right? And where I also, I change it inside the end of program. Here I have it's off, and also we have inside the change tool, right? Here, coolant off. Here it is. Now, once you do that, you just need to change your coolant settings, and here you just need to print 21 M9. It's fine, and it works totally. You don't have to waste your time, into that. So now we have M21 coolant on, M9. It's still, coolant off. Here we have again the coolant on, and so on. That's the way, and this is the right way how to write or to edit your post, to be as much as flexible it is, and it's possible. Okay, as I mentioned to you, it will be a pretty deep about the coolant, and for the rest I will not wait so much time into the specific cases, because it's pretty much the same thing. Okay, now some of you, on this slide, I'll just talk a little bit about tool breakage control. It can be, the equipment or option on the machine, right? And some of the machine don't have it, some of those have it, and pretty much everybody, I guess, saw this, the tool table, and they go to the tool preset where they saw that their tool measure and tool breakage are gray. You are not possible to activate them even if you have, this equipment on the machine. So I'll show you how to turn it on and to play with inside Post. Okay, so I'll jump into the SolidCAM. And the first step, what you need to do, as always, you need to jump into our VMID. And you can just guess. It's not inside the machine option, but it's regarding to the spindle. So everything about the tool breakage, it's on the spindle options, right? And here on the early button, we have the tool measure, and we have the check the tool breakage, right? And what I would really like, you can play with both of those things, but today I'll just show you, the check tool breakage. So let's save it. I'll go to specific tool table here. And here I'll go to the tool preset. And now you can see that my tool breakage is actually activated, and I can activate it or deactivate it, and I can play with that. Now, what is my length tolerance? This is two of the very important information for your tool. It's like, what will be the maximum tolerance for the length? So if it can be also the laser, or it can go with the equipment like the touch. And if he measure that the delta it's bigger than 222, for example, in this case, I just put it like this to be very easy to find inside the post. The machine will automatically find because those kind of machines has the tool data management, okay, and inside the machine, almost every tool has its own copy. So if the length tolerance length it's more than 0.222, he will replace those tools, and you will have the newest one. And you can check your tool breakage on every tool change or on every operation. So I'll just go to every tool change, and I'll click OK. The same thing I will do for the tool number 1. You see, and here maybe I can put 333. Okay. Now, let's analyze those two operations. So for analyzation, where I need to put those variables and where I can find it, I need first to check it, how they are printed, where they are printed, This is pretty much standard procedure, and I'm doing it like with the trace level, where I'll just hit number 1 here. And then it will bring me to the Notepad, where I will be very able to search where it is. And I'm pretty advanced here, but you can also go down there, search on the very small operations. Don't try with a large operation, because then you will have a lot of procedures, and then you will just get lost yourself. So just try to generate some of the very small operations in order to analyze everything very well. Okay, so we have here the start of job, and because we have a new tool, after, let's see, on the beginning, this is my first operation drill, and then we have end of job, and then we have after operation, let's check our tool breakage, right? And the same thing we have at the end of the operation of the second job. So after the end of job, we have let's check our tool. So this is what we said to the SolidCAM, and it's pretty clear. This is something that I'm searching for. So let's do it. So now the question is where that should be inside the post. So I can put it like wherever I'd like, but for now I'll just put it like below the end of job. Here, tool breakage. Don't forget to close it, and I'll put it like this. Now I need some variables inside of this procedure, right? So what I will do here, I'll just go generate the Gcode, generate, okay, and let's do it now with a 5 so I can see all the variables. And I can search for my tool breakage. It's pretty easy procedure. You can see now it comes with the tolerances length, okay, and tolerance radius. And that's all. Those two are the most important that we actually need. So, for example, I have the machine that can just check actually the length, right? And from machine to machine, it's pretty different, and it has, some of the machines has specific Gcode, some of them has specific maybe M code. In most, it's like calling specific subroutine or a specific subprogram, with some macros. So it can be pretty handy, and pretty different from machine to machine. So now what I will do is just from experience of one of the machine, I will just show you how I did it, So first of all, I would like to, print something like a message, that is like tool check, it's pretty good for the operator to understand what is going now, And then what I will do here, I would like to, because I will do it in like sub-program. So for the sub-program on Fanuc, it's like G65, and then it's coming like with a P, and the P, it's understanding what is the sub-program number, right? And in this case, I'll put like just 999. Then my tool is like tool number. The tool number, it's just system variable that I already know, but you can also find it out inside of the trace. And then we have our tolerances, and it's coming, for example, like with age, right? And then my tolerances length. That's pretty much of it. Very easy, and maybe here I can put like new line or new block. It's up to you. Okay, so let's generate now. I'll go to generate. I'll hit OK. OK. And let's analyze that. Okay, what we have here, tool check. We are calling for a specific subroutine. It's our tool number 1. And then it goes, to specific edge length, right? Pretty handsome. Okay, that was pretty much of it about tool breakage, and now you know how to do it. Now we are coming to the point where how to use, how to allow user to put some, user-defined M codes or G codes. This is pretty much that everybody should understand it, and to allow user to for some specific case, he don't want to have specific M or G code inside of the post, but he would like to control it when he would like to print it. One of the way it's through our powerful MCO, and it's really coming on the basic level. And what I will do here, just on the end of the operation, I will just click on that, and I will add machine control operation. Now, how to do that? Inside the this on action on menu, you have like miscellaneous option, right? And you just need to drag and drop, and here you have a message. Now there is multiple ways how you can print some different code, but this is one of my ways, that I'm always sending to the customers. So, and here you can put like M91, open the door. Some of the machines really don't want to work without this, code. Some of them, to open the door after the all operation has been done. And I can save that. And here operation name, it can be just open door, right? And let's generate now the trace. I'll go first. I always going first to the one, and I'm starting to analyzing. Okay, I'm starting to analyzing where my procedure actually is starting. So here I have start program, then I have something set up, rotate to plane, and I'm pretty advanced, but here it is. Start machine control, then I have something like messages, start object, MCO message, and end of object add with the machine control. So those all that's now selected, it's my MCO. So to see all the variables that it has, standard procedure, let's just run the trace 5. Let's go there. So we have start machine control. Here are some of the variables that really it's not for us very important. But what we have here it's MCO message, right? And then we have the message to print our, and here it is. This is right what I put inside my MCO. So let's use this procedure and let's put it and implement that inside our post. Pretty easy. Just below this tool breakage, I will just create this, right? And let's create it like what we need to print. Nothing else than the message, right? I'll just copy the variable. This is my variable message. Save it. Generate. Simple code. Okay. We have the comment, but it's not in the right position. I would like to print it into new block, right? So what you need to do is just put here new block. Okay, that's pretty much save and exit. And here it is. Open the door at the end of it. Now you can play with that. You can put any message, so the customer can put any message. It's just up to him now. Okay, let's move it on. Now I'll jump into maybe some of the, again, M and Gcode codes, but that it's like the parameters, that the user would like to control it. Now I'll start, to showing you one of the really practical thing, and really common request coming from the resellers is that they would like to add high-speed mode inside of the Gcode, and they would like to be controlled by the user through the interface, right? So in this case, I would like to, declare something that that our customer will be able to see it. So let's see what I mean really about that. So whenever I open any of the operation, I would like to have inside my miscellaneous parameters. Here I have extra parameters because we didn't declare any one of these. There is nothing here, right? So let's put something that will allow user, to change it and to play with that and to print specific Gcode and M codes, for that. To do it, again, it's the vim-id. You just need to go to user, define parameters, and here we have 4 different options and parameters where we can implement that. Now, in the future webinars, I will talk about all of these, but for now, I'll just go to the milling one. That is really now a good to play with. Now I'll add here a parameter, and the first GUI name, which means general user interface, it's the thing that will user seen. So high speed mode. So this is the name that the user will be able to see it. Okay. Now the GPP name is the variable that will be our trigger, for the value that will come from the user. And I'll just say, because it will be an integer, I will start with I, so high speed mode. And the type of the integer will be of the variable can be numeric, logical integer, or string. For now, I will use just the integer, and that means it's whole number. So you cannot put like 1.2, right? It's just whole number. And my default value is 0. Why 0? It's because I want, if it's 0, it will be high speed mode. If it's 1, it will be high accuracy mode. Okay, so I'll put it like 0. And here you can put some description. I really like it. It's like 0. It's speed mode. You can speed mode, and like 1, it's accuracy mode. And this comment and description will be displayed, for the user. Okay, I'll save that, exit. I will open one of the operation, and you can see now inside my miscellaneous parameter, now my parameters are on, and I can see it, and now the user can control it. If I put it to 0, right, it's 0. If it's 1, it's 1. Now I will not go through deep, but you can also work as for a coolant option, right? You can play with it, you can put some logic, and for now I'll just inside, for example, my start of job, I'll just want to be on the left side, so I'll just go to the start of job, here put that value. And it can be after, the coolant, so it's coming like this. It's if the I high speed mode is equal to 0, on this machine specifically, the high speed mode is coming like with M250, and M251 is for the high accuracy mode, okay? And I can say like M250, it's high speed mode, and of course it should be inside the quotation mark, so it's like a comment, and else, so if it's 1 or even more, it's 51. It's like high accuracy mode, right? And if. Now you can put the same logic as we did it for the coolant to turn it off at the end, but I don't want to waste so much time on that. I'll just generate a Gcode, and here we have M250 on the beginning of the operation, and it's pretty switchable for the customer. If you put the 1 value, if you'll generate it, now it's high accuracy mode, and so on and so on. I hope that you like it. Okay. And the last but not least, it's the open, close, and copy structure. We can talk like half of hour where this, it's pretty handsome, but I'll just tell one of the really practical things why you can use these options. It's generally created, it's an functions that, or we can say also the commands that allows user to create, to have better management of how the Gcode file is generated, right? With what specific name, where it can be located. You can also, because every post-processor starting and the trace, for example, it's coming, the information, it's starting from the top to the bottom. And what if some of the information from the bottom, you want to print it on the top? So you need to store this information in some specific file, and then at the end to copy it on the top. And that can be pretty handy. One of the really good things is, for example, inside the start of job, start of the operation, you would like to copy the name of the operation, and on the beginning of the Gcode, you would like to print all those all operations that you actually use it in generation of the Gcode. So this is the one of the thing. And the second example, it's like in in the very high level mill-turn machines, you have 2 or more channels. Whenever I say channel, that means that this machine in most of the cases requires 2, 3, or whatever number of channel you have Gcode files. So separated Gcode files for each channel. That is like run it with weight marks. Now, for this webinar, because we said it's really basic and we will go even further and further and more advanced and advanced, I would just now show you one of the practical things what this, not all of those functions do, but just some of them, and later on through the next webinars I will show you how to use them on pretty advanced levels. For now, just how to use it. Okay, so first of all, there are 5 different commands for the file management. It's like open file. It will basically create a new Gcode, okay, with a specific name. You can close specific Gcode. You can copy specific Gcode, delete some of the temporary files, and you can even make directorium on some specific location. Okay, so let me give you 2 examples. The first one that is pretty good. You all know that if you go to the AMID here, and you can go to the working style tab, here you have the Gcode output. And here you have the Gcode file extension. And if I put NC file, it's pretty clear that if I go to my specific finish operation and generate the Gcode, I will have the file name that's calling like finishwall.nc. Now, most of the resellers is actually asking, this is not something that customer needs. For example, on the FileNook, it's pretty good if you have with O and then the program number. Like somebody would like to have like O and then the program number that consists of the four numbers. And those 4 numbers we can actually took it from our CAM system, right? So this is our program number that you see on every beginning of definition of your CAM project, and here it is 111, for example. It can be whatever value it is up to 9999. It depends of what kind of what of the program number are available on the machine. Okay, so 1123. Good. How to change the Gcode extension to not even have the extension? The answer is through this file management, and I will very quickly show you how to use it. So I'll copy this, and I will go not on the start of job, but in the point where I would like to generate a new file. So how I can decide that? So the easiest way is just to generate the Gcode for any of the operation, and let's find out what is the first my procedure. And here it is. My answer is start of file. So in the start of file, I would like to generate the new format for my new file. So I'll go there, click on the left one. I can close this one, it's nothing helpful now. And I can go to start of file. Pretty handsome. So what I will do here, I'll just paste this, here I can also put the new line. It doesn't matter. And I can put the name and extension to the Gcode. Now also you can see here that there is like C dot, 2 dots and // It means where you want to store this file. Now there are some restrictions, depending what operating system you are using. For example, on Windows XP, you can put your Gcode on the C drive, but for example on Windows 8 and Windows 10, actually are not allowing to store the data on the C drive. So for this example, I'll just go to my PC, and here on the C drive I have I'll create some folder where I would like to store my file automatically. So this will be done automatically. I will just put like Gcode. Okay. And what I will do here, the // in the GPP file, it's not allowed to use just one slash because it's coming from the Windows. So internally, it's created that it needs to be 2 slashes, and then the Gcode, right? The specific folder, 2 slashes, and now our Gcode file name, how I would like to call it. It will be O. I will close that, right? I will open it again, and here between those two, this is like separate things. I would put plus because this is a string. This is everything like a string. Ever it's in quotation marks, it's a string. And to operate with a string, you can use the plus and minus sign. And between that, I will use this as program number. What it actually does, you can check it out on GPP tool help, but it basically transform our program number that it's like 1123 from the system to be a string. For now, this is actually an integer, and we want to move that to the string. So it will allows us, to use it then. Okay, let's see. This is already done, and let's see what is the result. I will generate the Gcode, hit OK. Let's see, maybe okay, this is okay. New file, C Gcode. Hopefully I did correct. Now I'll go to the Gcode, And here it is, my Gcode, where I can, just open. Yeah, I will use Notepad. And here it is, with specific 01123 without extension. Pretty awesome. This was the first example that I want to show you. And the second one is, I will delete this one, or no, I will still leave it. But I would like to show you another example, and I will finish with this webinar. The finish wall, as you can see here, I will just jump into a little bit of the analyzation of the toolpath. So what we have here is, the tool is going down, finish on the first, first pass, and then he goes out, going to the second pass, and runs that again. Now, very common request from the resellers and also from the customers is coming. Can we, because this is like one of the path, and we can put that as a separate subprogram, okay, that we will call it in the main program. So we will have our toolpath, we'll have our main program that will call this, and then we'll go just Z down and it will generate once again. So how to do that? This is pretty advanced thing, but you can play with that, and then we will understand it for sure. I will just jump into my VMID, and I need to change a structure how I would like to handle my my toolpath. So I'll go to the working style, and I would like to have procedures. The procedures means I would like to generate some sub-programs, okay, subroutines, or however you want to call it. And in that, I would like to generate it, yes, and I would like to have sub-programs. It's like, okay, he will generate for each kind of this trigger will generate the sub-program per operation. But if you want to have sub-programs inside of one operation, you have to switch the sub-procedures to yes. Okay, so let me show you what will now change it actually. So I'll recalculate that, and I will go to generate the Gcode with a trace of 1. Now this is a totally different structure, and I'm not expecting that you understand it immediately, but it's pretty easy if you analyze it from beginning. So first of all, we have very small main program. So everything from the top to the end of program, it's our main program. And what we have here is we are calling for P2, right? And on the end, we are getting from proc, and then we have the start of job and standard, thing. And I think it's much better to analyze it when we don't have any, let me first turn off this, or at least, to print it out without storing in some specific place. Okay, so this is our main program, and we'll call our sub-program 2 here. So whatever we have from here to the bottom, it will be like replacements of this code, right? And then we have the finish line. And at the inside of this operation, we have P3. This is the subroutine, okay? We have another program that it's just these lines. And then we will again call it, we will go to the Z bottom, different Z level, -37. It's the bottom. And then we will again call the same one. The result of this, it's for all the operators and machine builders, it's the Gcode, it's much more shorter. This is very important for all the machines that have limited memory, and you want to reduce the size of your Gcode. Now, the way how I'm doing it is I'll just jump to my procs, and this is you can use it almost in every post. This is the structure necessary, it's pretty easy how to handle all of those things. We have, calling the subprogram, it's like the P, and then we have the label, and then we have specific subroutine that is coming with O label. Now what I want to do, I will use the same thing like I show in the presentation, where I would like to open some file and I would like to close some file. And I will do it very quickly now. Okay. On the beginning, here on the call proc, I would not like to do anything, but here I would like to get all those subroutines into a specific file. So what I will do, I will open another file, and on the call proc, let's see, I will open the file that will be O, close it and open it, and then here the label. And here, just on the end of proc, I would like to use a close file. And again, the same label that I'm using it here. And also because before I have the open file, right, on the start of, no, not on the start of file, yeah, it's inside the start of file, here, in the end of program, I'll need to close it. Okay, so this was very advanced, okay, just try to repeat, try to open the trace, try to do it, alone, practice, and you will see the results now. If I go to the finish wall, I'll go to the generate the Gcode and I will hit generate. Okay, I have some mistake, okay, in the line 87, let's go there and let's check it out. And now it's pretty good to show you one trick. Remember this 87 line, right? You can jump here, and you can hit Control G, and you have go to, and you can go to a specific block, and you just type here 87, and here I have some mistake. Let's see, I'll open it, close file. Just let's say close file. Okay, this is closed. Let me see the difference. Okay. This is okay, okay. Did I use the same? Let me try again, and maybe I will try without that. 87, right? It's again. So for now, let me just close it. And the closing of it, it's just, putting the semicolon on the end, and the GPP file will not even execute it. Let's see what will bring that. I'll generate the Gcode, click OK, and wow, we have one file, third file, and and another file. It's like this is main Gcode, which will call this one, and this one will call for another one. Pretty handsome, pretty tricky, but I guarantee that you will figure it out. And just for the end, I would like to thank you very much for your attention. I hopefully that it was not so hard. I guess it's for those who it's who are on the basic. This will be good webinar to show you how to do those kind of tricks and bring your level of the post-processor edit on much more higher level. And let's avoid this problem that I don't know why my post-processor actually works. And to help you in that, we'll create much more webinars on this subject. Okay, thank you for your attention. And Eddie, now if there is any questions now, I'm free.
Yeah, Daniel, to tell the truth, many questions, but no chance we will answer all of them. So I know who has asked the question, and we will just contact by Skype after the webinar, yes? With every one of them to answer, because too much questions and very sometimes niche questions. So We will do it like this, guys. Don't worry, I have all the questions recorded. Yeah. In addition to questions, we have many compliments, Daniel. For example, fantastic guys in Serbia, always very helpful. For example, hi guys, I would like just to send you greetings and to thank you in this way for all your help and for the great support. Or you really are SolidCAM Post-Processor expert. Many thanks for your support. Greetings from Solid Pro team. Okay, so yeah, super webinar. Thank you very much. Many thanks. Okay, Daniel. So you see, it's not so easy topic to deliver to audience, of course. Yes, and you did very good work. It was first webinar, and I think it was very, very useful. Okay, contacts from Serbia, guys. You have in the chat area. You have now. If you see your chat area, you can find there all the contacts of Daniel, Mirko, Igor, and Nikola. If you have, if you don't see it for some reason, just contact me by Skype. So Daniel, thank you very much. We will continue next week. Yes, and me and you will contact by Skype now those guys who asked the question. Of course, the people are asking for a presentation, so we will put presentation together with a webinar recording on our reseller forum and on our reseller area of our website. Yeah, so we will do it today. One more time, thanks to all our resellers who joined us today. It was almost 70 resellers to join us. And one more time, thank you very much for your efforts, for your great results in December and already in January. And one more time to remind you that those who will attend SolidWorks World event in Dallas, we will be more than glad to meet you there, to show you one more time live machining cutting, and of course to discuss all business and technical aspects. Thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.